So, it's the next day. I kind of wanted to just look at some settings real quick between InZOI and Where Winds Meet, in regards to VSR. And yeah, I think I got to run around in Horizon Zero Dawn for a little bit yesterday. And as soon as I opened up Steam, um, these two games will like grayed out with updates. I was like, all right, fine. So I went and did other things. I went to bed. In Horizon Zero Dawn, I did try upping the bitrate to 8 megabytes per second instead of 5.8. That's kind of manageable for copying the files to the other computer. About a gigabyte per 15 minutes just isn't workable. I can't exactly put a 60-minute vid on a USB stick if it's over 2 point something gigs, I think it is. And the compression noise between these was exactly the same on YouTube, because YouTube compression. When I'm moving around, there is some blurring with this, but it's not that bad. But on YouTube, after the YouTube processing, it gets really bad. It was perfectly clear all the time with that file, but as soon as I uploaded it to YouTube, I'll probably leave a link to it in the doobly-doo for your amusement. But yeah, it was just as bad as this was uploaded. So I went back, and this was me just commenting about, yeah, there's updates, so we'll see how this goes. I am suspecting this will not let me select anything higher than 1080p because the game is just... I don't know why everybody is insistent that it look like crap. And that was the other thing, was the Google AI, when I was looking this up, was suggesting DirectX 12, but DirectX 11, I think this is, performs a little bit better on AMD cards according to a couple of places, so that's what I was going with. Many updates ago, I did try both versions, and just VSR was just a non-option. So it is what it is, I guess. Hence the giant thing over here. When this is like a tiny little thing up there, it's actually like higher resolution than 1080p, and then scaled down by the graphics card to the screen. Yeah, sure. Re-download 1.8 gigs of essential resources. Well, oy vey. Yeah, I'm just gonna exit the game and restart it. Thank you. So, yeah, I have no idea. Like, so many of the games on this list will not let you go past 100% scaling. No clue why. So, again, I'm guessing that's DirectX 11. It used to say DirectX 11 in the past. So, yeah, there was like 76 gigs of download last night. So, I'm not surprised that some of it may have not been great. So yeah, full screen, and it's grayed out. It will not let me select that. So yeah, that's... And the only other option is windowed, which doesn't exactly work with VSR. Gotta be full screen. So... it's almost not even worth me going in and looking at it, because the only options are less than 1 sample per pixel blurring filters for anti-aliasing. See if they changed anything else. Yeah, looks about the same. It was one game I'd seen like a preview for, and I guess it was supposed to be like waves of wind moving across the grass, but instead it was just waves of like fuzzy blur. And at this point, I'm not sure if that was YouTube compression or if that was the actual filter thing. So yeah, we're done here. That can be a hell of a lot clearer. I can see the, like, 0.5 pixel blurring on all of this. The only thing that's actually clear is this overlay here. That is after the TAA or whatever this game is using. So that was a bust. So if I recall, the problem with this one is you can't do 3200 by 1800. You can only do even multiples of. So some things that are somewhat cubic reduction sensitive, I guess you'd call it, look really bad when you just double the resolution. Something about 1800 puts the pixels off just enough that it's almost like that diagonal arrangement of what FSAA did way back in like 2003, 2001, etc. with the original Mad Onion 3D Mark things. So I could have this at 4K downsampled to 1080p, which is 2 samples per pixel on the screen. Some things looked okay, but other things were just, yeah. So judging by this, I'm guessing it's at 1440p, which was the quote-unquote happy medium that I left at last time I looked at this. So, many updates later. Okay. I don't think I had any, No, I just want to look at settings. Graphics, yeah, 1440p. Resolution scaling. I can't bring that up to like 200, which would be 2 samples per pixel. And with a lot of shadows, it skips every other pixel and it like alternates back and forth between which pixel gets the sample with each frame, which is how you end up with like the dancing shadow effect. And having a 2x multiple here would actually counter that by forcing it to have a sample per pixel. RT, ray tracing, at least on NVIDIA's cards, does a sample every 4th pixel. And in order to counter that, I'd have to have 4 samples per pixel, which would be 400% scaling. But this won't let me do that. And I am still not seeing 1800 here. So we'll go to that. Yeah, we'll just continue. Pre-test. Yeah, go with that. Not actually playing the game. Doesn't matter if everything in the house is broken or anything like that. I just want to go over to the park next to the river and look at the trees and everything. There are major changes to the city. They keep adding different locations. You should be sleeping. Yeah, go to sleep. All right. Yeah. So at 1080p, even here, yeah, you can see that. You see the dancing right there, maybe. And if I bring this up to, yep, you can even see the speckling right there. And if I bring this up to 2x scaling, oh, that's real bad over there. Options. So 2 times 1080p would be 4K. Yeah, now that's really tiny. And it's still there a little bit. Still there a little bit. That doesn't look as bad. At 1800 really is a sweet spot there without going to excessive scaling. And the next step up is like 8K, I guess you'd call it. 8 times 1080p. Now, they did improve this a lot, because these umbrellas over here, the shading on this used to be, it looked like 1980s CGA graphics dithering. So that's vastly better than when the game first came out. The opacity on these things was horrible at one time. That is vastly better. A little bit of dancing on the shadows, but that doesn't look too bad. There was some chairs over here. That is much better. Originally, it looked like this was rendered at 720p and then Cubic upscaled to whatever setting the game was at, 1080p, 1440, etc. That looks way better. So, we'll go back to 1080p. Take a look at it. Yeah, I'm not sure these bushes here, there's like a little bit of flicker when I move. And I'm not sure the YouTube compression will even grab that. I know the 5.8 megabyte per second shows it. You got a little bit of angled edging there and there. And VSR is real good at fixing that without blurring everything on the screen. And the shading is okay, the edges... dancing shadows. Okay, what was that water fountain look like? Yeah, stepping. At least it doesn't look like it was rendered at 720p and then Cubic upscaled to screen res. Okay, so we was looking at this over here. Yeah, we got grates and all that stuff there. We'll kick in a little bit of VSR. This is like 1 point something, so not every single pixel on the screen is getting a sample or more. Yeah, 1800 is so much better at that. Yet there is an improvement on that. Still see some dancing around. So the options this game is giving me for VSR is less than optimal. Still some dancing there, so I think maybe they upscaled it a little bit for some of the shading, so it's no longer 720p. Something a little bit better, but still, that looks a lot better. But again, the edges on this, I can see the stair stepping. And if I could set it to 1800p, that would go away. As with the example of Horizon Zero Dawn when I do that, because that game will let me set 1800p. 7 Days to Die, many updates ago, would let me. I haven't fussed with that game since. They did something so you just didn't have enough resources to make a horde base, and I just kind of lost interest at that point. But I can absolutely feel the 30 FPS there. This is very less than optimal. It looks a lot better though. So there is that. So again, have you tried being less poor, compromise between it looking okay and... wrong, 1440. And being able to play the game. I mean, it's not really a fast action first person shooter game. You click things and then you wait for your person to walk over to the location to do whatever you clicked, etc. How far can I zoom out? Oh, we have a stage over here now. Nice. I wonder if you can put those things inside your house again, or if they still keeps auto popping up to the highest floor level. So I think that stuff out there is skybox, and I think somewhere around this bridge is the edge of the map. I'm not sure where the transition is between buildings and just the skybox texture. Maybe way further back, because I can see these move closer and further apart depending on viewing angle here. Can I look up? No, I cannot look up. So I can't go over to that building and look up from down there. Why? You can do that in build mode. Yeah, I can't look up at the buildings. Anyway. I think I can just kind of... Well, there I am. I think I can click on this and I go... Yeah. So if I go to build mode, which I think is this one. Yeah, I can look up. But I can't do that in the regular version of the game? Or the regular... That is so silly. And the problem with this is that building over there that I wanted to go over and look, you know... Can I go over there? No. I can't leave the lot in build mode to go over and look at that building. Why? Why a limitation like that? That is so stupid. Like, why can't I look up at these buildings? Ugh. Alright, anyway. I can't set 1800p. It looks a lot better than when the game was first publicly available beta. But there's some things that need yeah, I can't even look up at my own building over here. Yeah, I'm trying to move the camera down towards the ground to look at the lights underneath there, and I can't. I just can't. That is such a stupid limitation. Alright, anyway. Nah, just exit. I'm done. And there was something else I wanted to look at, and I don't remember what it was. 2077, that was the other one. I'm going to stop the recording here, and we'll be back. So there's a chance that I'll fuss with that later. I want to look at this one more time. Just to show that 1800p really is a thing. $3,200, $1,800. Look at the grass here and here. The edges of these rocks. That, I mean, I know the YouTube compression sucks, but this is so incredibly clear. Anti-aliasing is off, so it's just the VSR downscaling doing the edge smoothing. And get away from the moving stuff and that looks absolutely incredible. I mean, everything from like the rocks over there to the snow to her outfit. It doesn't look like someone put a J.J. Abrams filter on my screen. And where else can I go that... I mean, I could go to that city, I guess. What was this thing? Yeah, sure, I guess. Doesn't matter what she's wearing, even the Inuetu, like, outfit thing, it just... When she's up there, she complains about the cold. So I kind of just stopped caring. Let's get away from the fire so there's less movement on the screen for YouTube to mess up. And that really does look incredible. It's almost screen cap worthy right there. If the F12 worked outside of Steam. So it's been over a year since I've done anything in 2077. Other than just look at FPS, so I got to get back into that. And oh, there is a ladder down. Oh, that's right, because when you first start this level, you got to go and climb underneath there. And then after you go and talk to the AI, this is complete and that rolls down. And there is some lighting artifacts in this game. Thought I saw like a little bit of flicker on the thing over her head there. Go back to where I was. Well, I think that's the campfire that you can actually kind of climb around here and almost see the naming cliff from, but this one's a little bit closer. And there's invisible walls that keep you from going there. That was the last place I actually went, was over here. Revisiting old places. Just to look around rather than being distracted by the mission. So yeah, 1800p downsample to 1080p does work. It is a thing. Now I'm gonna see if the red launcher even wants to function, because sometimes it doesn't. It does like that weird spaz out thing. But I'm gonna go ahead and splice a video here anyway. We'll be back. Alrighty, so I gave it a little bit to sync the other game, although I'm not sure there is a sync for it. Yep, I'm aware of that. All the autosaves for me going to different locations and looking at FPS. Oh, it actually worked that time. I mean, there's another possibility that there's like so many game updates that the skirt and Elfier mods are just non-functional. I think there was hair as well. And a third-person thing. And I vaguely remember some of the buttons I used for that, but I'm not completely sure. Like I said, it's been a long time since I played the game, and yeah. So I have a tiny little thing in the corner. So what are my settings? $1800p. I didn't really notice a difference with this one. And LOD, low and high, I don't think made a difference at all either. Probably better to just run the benchmark and look. Because, unfortunately, if you have clothing mods with extra clothes and then you go into the game when the mods are broken because of updates, sometimes your character just kind of ends up not wearing clothes. And I'm just not going to chance YouTube getting upset about that. So I'm really happy with that. That looks incredible. Don't know if this game actually supports the AMD stuff. Okay. Okay, it does, but I don't need frame generation. Resolution scaling. I don't see VSR here. Yeah, and it won't let me go over 1-to-1 ratio. It will not let me go higher than that. On any of those. Why is everyone so insistent that games look like crap? Why can't we just have something that looks good and is sharp and clear? Yeah, I don't have a cursor on the screen, but there's like a little row of arrows next to a set of stairs over there to the left of the bar. And every single one of those upscaling things has issues with those. But here, if you use downscaling, you sample more than one sample per pixel, it looks incredible. But none of these scaling mechanisms will let you do that. And I can only guess that's because they want games to look like crap. Someone was saying on a forum that you should be able to set your resolution scaling to like 200% with one of those upscalers. So you end up with more than one sample per pixel. Should be possible, but yeah. I don't know. I don't know. What is up with that? So, be cool, y'all.